Lisa Denae Live starts now, only on Stunner Radio, the heart and soul of the culture.
This show is sponsored in part by Flat Fee Tax Prep and Services, offering quality tax preparation, serving clients nationwide. For more information, visit www.flatfeecreditandtax.com. And don't forget to mention Stunner Radio sent you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Lisa Denae Live. I am so excited to have you with us today. I want to take this opportunity to give a shout out to our international listeners and viewers. I am so delighted that you guys continue to support Stunner Radio and support Lisa Denae Live. I cannot be more thrilled every time I look at the numbers and I see your countries. It's just a beautiful thing. And I want to make sure that I take the time to say thank you. If this is your first time tuning into the show, Lisa Denae Live is a show where we talk about real talk, real issues. The whole idea is to have real conversations, real talk for the real world. And I am your host, Lisa Denae. Tonight, we're going to be discussing mental health awareness in the Black community. This is Mental Health Awareness Month, and we've been talking about it very in depth for most of the month. We've been speaking on mental health awareness. I do believe that we cannot speak enough about mental health. We currently here in the United States of America are experiencing a mental health crisis. A lot of people don't seem to believe that or want to blame some of the things that we see happening on guns, on the economy, when at the core of it all, we are not serving our people in this country who are experiencing severe mental health issues. I want to say my heart and my prayers and just everything goes out to the people in Buffalo, New York, after witnessing and experiencing and suffering from yet another mass shooting. It seems like in our country, this is just the way of life now. It seems like you're just holding on and waiting until the next one, and you're just hoping that you're not involved. You're just hoping it's not near you, and hoping that every time you go to the grocery store or every time you go to see a movie, every time you are in public, I don't know about you, but I'm always looking at the nearest exit. I'm always hoping and praying that whoever come in here, ain't nobody coming in here shooting. And if they are, my prayer is always, Lord, please help me to spare my life and the loved ones that came in here with me. I think it is unfortunate that we have reached a point in our time that you can't even go to the store in peace. You can't even go take care of your errands, run your errands, go to the store without worrying about somebody shooting up the place. At some point, we have to be honest about the fact that we are dealing with a mental health crisis. Hate and the things that fuel these people that are committing these hate crimes is a product of mental illness. If you hate someone simply based on the color of their skin, you're mentally ill, you're mentally unstable, and you need help. It's not a preference. It's not a belief system. It is a mental illness. And until we address it for what it is, our country is going to be plagued by this. So I'm so happy. I feel like it's very timely for us to have a mental health advocate on the show. Someone who could talk to us about mental health issues and help us to understand how we can cope with our own mental health. I don't know about you, but as a Black person in America, I got PTSD, baby. I got PTSD. Every time a police car get behind me, I'll be like, Jesus, this might be my last day, because I get the attitude fast. So, we've seen people in the news be killed by police officers. We've seen Black people get killed. The media has covered this. Even in this recent mass shooting, the guy live streamed it. So everybody who watched that is suffering from some form of mental illness behind that. You're traumatized. And for the people who are celebrating and people who are making jokes about it, the white supremacists and these extreme groups and these people who think it's funny that Black people were killed for no reason, you are mentally ill. Something is really wrong with you. You need help as well. I'm not mad at you. I feel bad for you. I hope that you get the help you need. And I certainly hope that you don't cross my path while you suffering from your mental health crisis. Because I might want to lay some hands on you, and it might not be praying hands. I'm just saying. So I hope that you all will, stay tuned. Listen to what Shawnti has to say. She is, like I said, a mental health advocate. She uses her personal experiences to help people overcome mental health issues. And as I'm sure you know, mental health issues in the Black community is a real deal. Like, we don't talk about our problems. We don't talk about our mental health issues. If we are suffering from symptoms of mental illness, we won't tell anybody, or we'll feel like we can go to church and pray it away or shout it out or holler and scream and then go back home just as crazy as you was before you left the house, if not worse. So this is a show that I'm hoping you will be able to get some useful information from and seek out resources. Resources are everywhere and readily available for us all. So without any more delay, we're going to take a really quick break and we'll be right back with my special guest, Shawnti Refuge. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hey, it's your girl Lisa Denae from Stunner Radio. I am so excited about the Loud Radio and Press Junket coming June 4th and 5th to Houston, Texas, baby.
If you're an artist, manager, A&R, publicist, really anyone in the entertainment field, you need to be at this event. Last year was amazing, and I know this year will be even greater.
So hit the link in our bio. Get your tickets today. Now, don't wait to the last minute before it's too late. You gotta be in the building, y'all, and we'll see you there. Yes, we're super excited about that, you guys. And now we are going to bring on our special guest, Shawnti Refuge.
Shawnti Refuge, a mental health advocate who truly cares about the health and wellness of her clients. Shawnti uses her personal experiences to inspire others to prioritize mental health. After a diagnosis of severe depression and anxiety, Shawnti decided to be proactive in reaching her wellness goals and assist others who want to do the same. With the creation of Shawnti Refuge Journals, Shawnti offers guided journals to empower, motivate, and encourage you on your self-care journey. Shawnti creates unique journals that are designed to enrich your emotional, physical, mental, spiritual, and financial well-being. Using this holistic approach, Shawnti has become an inspiration for those seeking to overcome obstacles and succeed on their quest for mental health and wellness. It is my pleasure to welcome to Lisa Denae Live, Shawnti Refuge.
Welcome, Shawnti. I'm so happy to have you on the show.
Hey.
So tell us a little bit more about yourself, who you are, what you do, and what started you on this journey. I know I mentioned a little bit in the intro, but I'd like to hear more about what got you on the road to being a mental health advocate.
It was not on purpose.
I'm not sure why, but I can't hear you. I heard you when you first started, then the audio just went out. Hey, Don Mills, he says, "What's up, Shawnti?"
Hey, Don.
I can hear you. You're going in and out just a little bit.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Now I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Start all over. So I woke up one day and I didn't feel good. I was in my car.
Oh, it went out again. That's
That's the devil. Don't want me to
there
tell
we
my
go.
story.
Now I hear you.
Okay. So I woke up in a bad mood, basically, and I thought it would go away as the day went on, but it didn't. In fact, it got worse every day. So either I was mad or crying or sad or angry or upset, all the negatives. That's what I was doing, but I didn't know why, and I couldn't control it. I want to say about a month went by, and my wife suggested that I go to see somebody for the mood swings. So I went to my PCP, and she gave me some antidepressants, and they didn't work. So, and I let her know they weren't working, and then she suggested that I go see a psychiatrist. I went to the psychiatrist. The psychiatrist gave me something stronger, and it worked for about a month, and then it quit working. And so she suggested that I go see a therapist. So I went to see a therapist, and once the therapist and I began talking, when you first go to a therapist, they start off at childhood. So from
Mhm.
whatever you can remember from childhood on up, and then you start talking about it. So it was during that time where I discovered that I had some deep seated issues from childhood and high school, middle school, early adulthood that I had buried or ignored. And I guess one day somebody said the wrong thing to me, and all of that internal stuff that I had buried deep, they just exploded, and I just exploded on that person. So I didn't
Wow.
like that. I didn't like how it made me feel because I'm not like that. And I know I'm not like that, but I'm sitting here acting like that. So the therapist asked me about journaling. She was like, "Have you ever journaled?" And I was like, when I was a kid, everybody journaled. And then she was like, "No, that's keeping a diary." I'm talking about journaling. So I didn't even know there was a difference between the two. So apparently, there's a difference between journaling and keeping a diary. And a diary is when you're writing down events as they happen, but journaling is you writing things out, starting with, how are you feeling? Why are you feeling? What happened to make you feel? Things like that. So I found that guided journaling worked better for me, where I would answer a specific question instead
Wow.
of generalizing, you know.
Right.
So because I'm that type of person in real life. If you want something specific out of me, you have to tell me specifically what it is you want.
Okay. Okay.
So I found that guided journaling really worked for me. So that's how I began with that. And I want to say 2 weeks into guided journaling, I started to feel better
Wow.
just by writing out, answering questions on some paper. I started feeling better, and I was eventually getting back to my old self. And once I saw that it was working for me, I thought to myself, well, I know if it worked for me, it could work for somebody else. Because
Right.
there's a lot of people who, like me, I didn't know anything was wrong with me. I didn't know I had some deep seated stuff that was going to just blow up one day. Didn't see it coming, but it came. And I, after all of that, and getting down to basically the root of everything, it was determined that I had severe depression and anxiety.
Mm.
But and I didn't know that.
Well, I want to speak to a couple things you said, and I also want to
Mhm.
say hello, good evening to those that are tuning in. Thank you so much for being with us. Something that you said really resonates with me. You said
Mhm.
that you were triggered by something, and you started to act outside of your norm. And
Right.
what I liked about what you said is that you didn't like it. And so you wanted to figure out why this happened. And I
Hmm.
want to highlight that because a lot of us do that and we just go on with our day. We act outside of our norm. We're like, oh, that was bad. I shouldn't have done that. Oh, well, keep it moving.
Yep.
And then I know that's what I did in the past. And then I realized the next time it's worse. And then the next time it's worse. And then the next time it's a problem for real.
Very much so.
So I think
But
it's so good and so interesting that you didn't let it get worse. You saw that it was a problem. You didn't like the way it made you feel, and you took action. That
hmm
is in itself a perfect example of how we should all behave. We should all, when we experience something like that, we should try to examine like what is causing this because I don't like this. unless you do like it. I mean, and if you do like it,
that's a problem too.
yes, that's even more time for you to say, hey, I might need to talk to somebody.
Right.
And then I wanted to talk about the fact that you went and got help. This
Yes.
is really huge for us. And when I mean us, I'm talking about Black people,
Us. Yes.
especially Black women. It
Mm-hmm.
is huge for us because I think somebody told us somewhere along the way that we had to be superhuman.
Right.
And we just feel like we don't need no help. We don't need nobody to talk to us. We can struggle. We can do all this and just handle everything on our own. And
Yes.
I think that's makes it worst.
Yes, it does. I mean, that it took that one time for me to act that way because and like I said, I know I don't act that way, but I did not like it. It's just I didn't like the way it made me feel. And then um, I also pictured myself doing what I was doing, but not stopping myself from doing, or couldn't stop myself from doing it.
Wow.
Yes,
Now
it's like
that's
I could
real.
literally see myself doing it.
That is like a high vibration right there. Like you're operating on a high level because you already are so aware of yourself that
Hmm.
you can actually see from the outside looking in, see this is not the way I want this to go. So I mean, I really feel like you're way ahead of most people because a lot of people can't see that without being, I guess, taught to do that. That's not something that we naturally do. And I think people that are naturally inclined to do that are just either spiritually gifted or just, I don't know, born with a greater sense of self-awareness. I don't know, or maybe you get it throughout the years, but I think that's notable. um, the other thing that I wanted to talk about was that your partner, your wife, said,
Hmm.
why don't you see someone? Now, let's be real about this. Most people gonna get an attitude. What you mean, see somebody? What you trying to say?
Right.
Why you feel like I need to see somebody? So that wasn't your first response, or that wasn't your first reaction?
No, I was like, okay, that's
Oh,
how bad it was. Because normally I
oh.
would have cussed out, but no, it was just that bad. It was.
Wow.
It was just that bad.
Wow. Wow. So I know that most people that are watching or they will watch and listen to the replay can relate to trauma associated with childhood because
Mhm.
childhood is hard. It's a short period of time that we live through, but so many things can happen to you as a child
Mhm.
that you don't fully understand, and processing it from a child's mindset, I mean, it causes trauma.
It does. It does.
And sometimes when you're a child, your mental health is not at the forefront of whoever is taking care of you. It's not at the forefront of their priorities. They're trying to make sure you fed, you got shelter, you're clothed,
Right.
your physical health is good.
Right.
So sometimes mental health is not at the forefront. Do you see that changing now since we have seen so much of a mental health explosion?
Yes. Absolutely. Yes, and it's necessary, and it's about time.
Yeah.
Because I know when I was growing up, it was what you said. The physical attention was there. Clothes, shoes, hair, food, home, lights, water, gas, all of that. That
Yes.
was there. But the emotional, how are you? How was your day? I love you. Give me a hug. Things like that. That wasn't there. But I didn't see any of that until I was an adult, believe it or
Hmm.
not. So when I saw another family interacting that way, hugs, kisses, eating at the table, I was like, what's wrong with y'all? Like, nobody does that. I thought it
Yeah.
was weird. But no, the way I grew up, even though it was normal to me, but as I look back, that was not normal.
Right. I think we all can have those, testimonies of looking back because for me, I know that the way I grew up, showing any type of emotion was frowned upon. It's kind of
Yes.
like, what you crying for? This nothing. Crying is not gonna help you. Stop crying. And so it's like you can't even cry. It's like
Yeah.
you get in trouble for
Right.
crying. And then if
Right.
you get mad, what you mad for? I'm gonna give you something to cry about. Let me
Yeah.
give you. And it's like, okay, I can't be mad. I can't cry. If you're sad, what you sad about? You got a house to live in, you got food to eat,
Yes,
you should
Lord.
be grateful.
Yes.
And so you just feel like, okay, none of my emotions are valid. I just gotta just shut down. And unfortunately, a lot of us have just learned how to go through life shut down because you don't know which emotion is safe to show.
Right. And that's so unhealthy because that's how I was. The only emotion you would ever see out of me was probably happy or mad, but nothing in between. Nothing sad,
Yes.
nothing excited, nothing. People used to call me a robot because
Oh, wow.
I didn't show emotion.
I
I
didn't
did.
think anybody else had that. That's me. Like I was called
Yeah.
that. Wow.
Mhm.
That's and I hated it, but I couldn't conjure up any emotion. I had
Right.
learned at a very young age to keep my feelings to myself.
Yes.
And so
Mhm.
even when I wanted to feel emotion, I couldn't. I couldn't feel nothing. I was just like wanting to feel happy, wanting to feel sad. Anger was very accessible, but
Yes.
any other emotion, I just couldn't. And it really took me well into my 30s. And really, journaling is what got me in the mode of being able to even access the emotions because I think what I learned is our minds are so powerful. Like if you
Very.
tell your mind something for extended period of time, it's going to affect your body. It's going to
Yes.
affect everything.
Yes. It
So
will.
I taught myself to shut my emotions down, and you know that don't work with relationships. It don't work with parenting. It really doesn't work.
It doesn't. It doesn't
So
work.
I think it's really great that you have this because I did not even know about guided journaling. Me personally, I had written a couple of journals, but I just put like quotes at the top of the journals that I had in my head that helped
Mhm.
me. I didn't even
Mhm.
know it was guided journaling until I read your bio and I saw what you do, and I was like, oh, maybe that's what I was doing. I don't know. I was just trying to help somebody in the way that I got help, which I really love about you. That's what you do.
Yes.
So, what can you tell someone who has never in their life kept a journal? How do they start?
Get a journal. That's first. It don't even have to be mine. Get a journal. Not journal on your phone, typing an actual pen and clean notebook and write. Some people think that journaling has to take all night. You could write one line and put a period at the end of it and that be a journal entry. Just
Mhm.
write whatever you are feeling at that moment. Just write. You don't have to think too hard about it. You don't have to think about it at all. Just take a deep breath and write. That's all. It's
Yes.
easy. It's not hard. It isn't.
And I agree. There's something special about actual writing over typing on your phone.
Yes.
I know a lot of people do the apps on your phone, but I really feel like putting pencil or pen to page. It's
Yes. That makes
just
it
something,
real.
yeah, it's something
Hmm.
special that happens, especially when you can go back and read it. And what I learned through my journaling journey is that my handwriting was different when I was experiencing something different.
Yes, ma'am.
And I was like, wow, that shows you how deep your emotions can be. Like it affects your handwriting.
Yep,
Some
it
of
does.
my handwriting was illegible. I was like, who in the hell wrote this?
Right?
What was I
Yes.
trying to say?
Yeah.
Because I was so upset, it was even affecting my handwriting. But
Mhm.
when I was balanced and feeling great and just had something to say, I was back to my normal handwriting. And I was like, wow, this is a clue to how strong my emotions can be and how they can affect everything.
Yes, they can. And you just don't. People. Some people just don't understand. Like you could be mad and write, But by the time you finish writing, you won't be mad again. It's like you are releasing all of these emotions on paper.
Yes.
Let it stay on the paper and you feel so much better. It's a great
Yes.
stress reliever. Sometimes we like to turn to things like alcohol and drugs and sex, but those are, I mean, they may feel good at the moment, but they're temporary.
Yes.
So and once you come down off of that high, you back where you were. But that
Absolutely.
it doesn't work that way with journaling though. Once you
I
write, you
agree.
feel better, and you keep writing. The more you write, the better you'll feel, and it'll last.
Right. And even those things that we use to self-medicate are not really the same when you're imbalanced. Like you can't even enjoy it right,
Right.
because you imbalanced. So you're not really getting the fullness of it, so to
Right.
speak. But I tell you what I discovered in my journaling is patterns and cycles in my life. That is the biggest thing I got out of journaling from my 20s to my 30s. I would go through the same cycles and I didn't notice it. But when I look back to my journals, I was like, oh my God, this is the same situation with a different person. This is the same scenario, just with in a different place. So it led me to understand I'm the problem. No,
Right.
I was the common denominator. So it just opened up my eyes to the fact that, which is really crazy, because if somebody would have came to me and said, you seek out situations that make you feel devalued, I would be like, no, I don't. Why would I do that? That's insane. But until I kept the journal consistently, I didn't
Mhm.
realize that I did, because I felt guilty about being smarter than anybody else, prettier than anybody else, more having more motivation, more drive, even happier than other people. It would make me feel guilty. So I would seek out situations that devalued me. And had I not kept a journal, I would have never known that. I would have
Mhm.
constantly been pointing a finger at the people and the places and the situations in my life. They were the cause. When all along it was some issues, like you said, that stemmed from my childhood that I hadn't dealt with.
Yep.
So that was big for me. That was big for me. So did you see any patterns or cycles, or discover anything about yourself that you didn't know before you started journaling?
I think it wasn't that I didn't know. I think I knew, but didn't think it was a problem. I was a people pleaser.
Mm,
So I would go out of my way to, I don't care who it was, just so I could be liked. I would do
mhm.
whatever it is you wanted me to do. If I wanted to do it or not, I would do it. I would get it. I would be it, just so you could like me. So yeah, not anymore.
Yeah, that is very tiring. Uh,
Yes.
I think that was a aspect of my issues as well, because that's part of what made me feel guilty. If a person didn't like me because they thought I was smarter, or they thought I was prettier, or they thought I had more, I would try to act like I was not smarter. I would try to act like I would downplay my looks, or I would downplay what I had, or, you know, play
Yep. I
dumb
used to do
myself
the same
down.
thing. I think that's why I stayed in trouble in school. I used to stay either kicked off the bus, kicked out of school. I don't even know how I graduated because I stayed suspended, but I had good grades. I was just a behavior
Because you were
problem.
smart. And that's the same
Mhm.
thing for me. I would score so high on all the achievement tests and all the evaluation tests and all these end of the year
Yep.
exams. But my grades were terrible, especially in high school. And I think my parents knew. But I want to say this, I'm not against therapy, but I just want to put this out there. It didn't work for me.
Mm.
The journaling worked for me better. Therapy helped me to be more honest in my journaling, but it didn't get me to where I needed to be, because I was the only person that could solve what I was doing to myself.
Exactly. Yep.
And so I think it's so important. What you do is so important, because people go to therapy for years, not knocking it, because I think it is good. But
Hmm.
I think for a certain number of us who hold the key to our own recovery, you have to find it, and I feel like journaling is more internal work.
It is because it starts within. Even if you go to a therapist, it starts with you. So just like if you decide to go to therapy, you have to make sure you are 1,000% sure you're gonna be honest with your therapist,
Yes.
honest with yourself. Because if you go in there lying, who are you helping? All you're doing is wasting your money and a therapist's time and your time. But
Exactly.
a good therapist, and I had a good therapist, she broke up with me. She said, she did. She broke up with me. She said, okay, Shawnti, you're doing good. It's time for you to be on your own now. I don't
Wow.
want you dependent on me because I
Wow.
was getting dependent on her. So yeah, she's a great therapist. And she broke up. I was sad. I was, but she broke up with me and made me go to my journals. And that's what I've been doing.
That is a good therapist because I
Yes.
think that some people want to keep their roster full. I mean, it's a career just like everything else, you know.
Right.
So I think that's definitely you know, kudos to that therapist who knew it was time for you to move along.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I think being, like you said, a people pleaser, I knew exactly what to say to my therapist. I knew what my therapist wanted to hear. And I'm such a, you know, talker. I could talk my way out of anything. So I just, you know, made up whatever I sound good. But there was one particular therapist who saw through all of it and was like, until you're going to be honest with yourself, not me, don't worry about me because it's about you. Until
Mm-hmm.
you are able to be honest with yourself, she said, just what you said, you are wasting your time and you are wasting mine and you're wasting your money.
Yeah.
And so I had to really dig deep. And that's when I really returned to journaling because I had left journaling for a while because I really didn't see, I felt like at some point it wasn't helping me. But I didn't realize that I was treating my journals just like I treated everybody else, just
Mm-hmm.
dealing with surface.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't really going deep. And so that's why I feel like guided journaling is helpful because if you're not guided, you can easily just, you know, write something just to
Yeah. Get
check off
all
the check that I
subject.
wrote something.
Yeah, yes. And who is that helping? That's not helping you. So yeah,
Again, yeah.
that's why I do I guess it's my attention span too. Why I did guided journaling because if it wasn't for those journal prompts, then I'd just probably be doodling on a paper, and that's
Yeah,
not
and you
helping.
know, I think for me, I don't know where I learned this, but I can really just BS my way through so much, even in my journal. Sometimes I'll go look like, girl, you wasted a whole page. You wasted a whole page. Who was you trying to kid? So I think that's why guided journaling definitely helps because some habits are very hard to break.
Yeah.
And when you have someone who can guide you and prompt you, you know, to come outside of yourself, come outside of what you normally do, get outside those comfort zones, that's
Yeah.
priceless.
Yes, and it hurts and it's ugly and you're gonna cry. But when you get to the other end of it, you will be so much better.
Absolutely. So, what do you say now is the biggest change when you're dealing with anxiety and depression, and you have journaling and you have these tools that you've established for yourself? If you were to deal with any of these symptoms, what is the biggest change that you see in your life right now? If any of those symptoms were to arise?
Um, Before I would do things I shouldn't do to pacify it or make it go away, like overeat, drink, drugs, just to make it go away. But now I reach for my journal or I'll turn on binaural beats on YouTube, anything but the other stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
because it's temporary. And I know I'm aware now of when I'm getting there. I'm very
right.
aware. I wasn't aware before. So if I feel it coming and I know what it is, I acknowledge it, but then I tell it to go away.
Wow.
Hmm.
That is huge because that's a new habit that
Yes.
you formed, and that came
Hmm.
from your self-awareness of, okay, this is because what I've learned and what I've been talking about all during mental health awareness month is that when you have certain mental issues or mental health issues, it's not necessarily cured. You
No.
may experience it in a different form, and you may experience it at a different level.
Right.
But I feel like it's very rare that you're totally free from it. So for me, I had to learn just what you said, like to know when it's happening. That's the
Mm.
biggest key for me. Because sometimes it creep up on you and you just feel like you're just tired. For me, when it comes to depression, I would just feel like, well, I'm just tired today. I just, I guess I just did too much until I realized it wasn't tiredness.
Mm-hmm.
It was depression trying to creep back up on me. And so for me, I know that journaling helps me because once you start really thinking about what you're experiencing and
Mm-hmm.
writing out everything that you're experiencing, you can evaluate it clearly and say, oh, this is more than tiredness.
Right.
Like I'm not even motivated. This is clearly more than tiredness. And the biggest thing I think that most people are experiencing right now is anxiety.
Yes.
Anxiety is at an all-time high. So why do you think that is? Why do you think
Because
so many people, old and young, from all different walks of life, are experiencing so much anxiety?
I think the anxiety levels of everyone arose when the pandemic hit.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I think that scared a lot of people, and rightfully so, because not only were people dying at the drop of a hat, but people were losing their jobs, their homes, and it was awful. So yeah, and the anxiety levels increased because even though this
Okay.
pandemic was going on, the bills didn't stop.
Right. And I think too, even though it's kind of gone away and not totally gone away, we still kind of recovering from the
Yes.
whole issues and everything because now they have monkeypox and every new thing that comes up, I'm like, oh Lord. I think we all like,
Let's just stay
Lord,
in the house.
yes, yes, like Lord, I do not want to get this. Please don't let this become another pandemic. And then the isolation of it all. Um, I think that kind of increased
Yes.
our anxiety as well.
Yeah, because we couldn't do the, family Christmas, Thanksgiving, and all the social events that we were used to doing. We couldn't do them anymore. We had to literally stay in the house.
Yes, yes. She says, child, it's just too much. Exactly, exactly. It is just too much. And then also with financial issues. And then I think we have to step back and realize in the midst of a pandemic, there were still floods, hurricanes. We had a freeze, crazy stuff going on with the weather. And now that we're coming up in Houston on hurricane season again, it's
Again.
always, a feeling of anxiety.
Yes, because some people still haven't recovered from the last storms we had. So, and now here comes another set of somewhere that's coming. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So, what is your advice for people experiencing high anxiety?
assess yourself. I am not against therapy at all. If you feel that you need to speak to someone professionally, not your uncle, cousin, mama, sister, no, somebody
Yeah,
who is trained to help you with whatever issue you're having, go. I know a lot of us are in that mindset of I don't want nobody in my business. They don't know me, blah blah blah. Because I used to be that person, but
yeah,
um, it talk to somebody who is trained to deal with what you're going through. But if you're insistent on not going to therapy, journal. Journaling works wonders. And if you do go to therapy, journal too. That
yeah,
really works.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that helps and that works wonders. I think that self-medicating can make it worse.
Yes.
I think a lot of people turn to weed and liquor, like you said, sex and food, all type of indulgences to comfort ourselves. But I think in the long run, it makes it worse.
It does because all of that stuff goes away. It goes away. And then you're back feeling the way you were feeling, so you go and do it again. So
Yeah,
it's not healthy. Those are unhealthy habits. And to have a healthy habit, journaling is a healthy habit that will make
absolutely.
you gain 20 pounds.
Right. What are some of the things that we should look for when we're trying to figure out if we're just going through a bad patch or we're just having a bad day or if we're experiencing mental health issues?
Ask yourself, what's wrong? What happened? Can I control it? Now, if you can't control whatever the situation is, or if you can control it, control it. If you can't, then move on. Like I think one of those is most people get stuck on things they cannot control.
Hmm.
So if you can't control it, why are you giving it all your attention? Focus your attention somewhere else. Be productive, be positive. Definitely be positive. My thing
Absolutely.
is, if I don't have my journal around with me, I get to my affirmations
Okay.
quickly. I say affirmations. So you say affirmations work. I have them in my journals. So you say affirmations, and deep breathing techniques, anything like that. Those things, just assess yourself. Sit with your thoughts, sit with your feelings, and assess them. And then your body most likely will tell you what you need if you just stop and listen.
Yeah. I love what you said about, I love the fact that you're saying, don't just do one thing, do a lot of things, do
Yeah.
whatever you need to do. And I think that's the main objective that I want people to take away from this is approach your mental health just like you approach your physical health. You
Yes.
know, when you want to lose weight, you do a variety of things. You
Exactly.
exercise, you change your diet, you drink more water, you get more rest. You don't just do one thing. So I
Hmm.
think it's the same with mental health. Seek therapy, do journaling, like you said, affirmations, meditate. Meditation works for me in
Yeah.
such a huge way that I didn't know before. Um, Deep breathing works for me. I
Yeah.
didn't know, and this is going to probably throw people off. I didn't know that when I was young, the only reason why I like to smoke is for the deep breaths that I would take. What's so serious? It was the deep breaths that made me relax. It wasn't necessarily the smoke.
Well, at least
I
you
had to
realize that.
realize that. The only reason why I realized that is because I switched to clove cigarettes. And then I said, ain't no nicotine in these, but I'm still feeling good. I'm still feeling relaxed.
Oh,
It was the inhaling and exhaling. It
and
was just the deep breaths. And I was
mm-hmm.
like, wow, that really saved me a lot of money.
I
Helped
sure
my health,
did.
you
Yeah.
know. Yeah, it changed a whole lot of things. So I love that you advocate for people being proactive with their mental health. I
Mm,
think that's the biggest thing we could do now as a culture. We learn more about mental health awareness. Now we have to be more proactive.
yes,
We can't
indeed.
wait till a crisis happens.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know about you, but as soon as I heard about this recent mass shooting,
Mm,
I started really like doing more meditations, praying about just everything. I knew that the next time I went to the store, I was going to feel away. I just
mm,
knew it. So I was proactive with myself, like, okay, let's not wait till we get in the store and start looking around at everybody. Let's just,
right.
take some deep
Right.
breaths, say some prayers, meditate. Let's figure this out so that we can get back balance. Because I think for me, I know when I'm unbalanced that I need to take care of my mental health.
And that's because you're aware of yourself. And I think all of us need to learn to be aware of ourselves. Because I
I
didn't used to be aware
agree.
of myself either. I used to be that type of person that just did whatever, went wherever, and just wasn't mindful. It's time to be mindful now of
Yes.
everything, yourself, your surroundings, everything. Be mindful.
And I will admit that self-awareness happened because of the pandemic, because I was always busy, making myself busy. Staying busy was how I stayed, unaware of what I was really dealing with. But
Hmm.
when we got on that lockdown, it was nowhere to go. You couldn't do nothing. I was just like, oh, now I gotta really figure me out.
Pretty
I
much.
can't, yeah, I can't be running from here to here. Now I gotta really deal with me. And that is where my self-awareness came from. That was the beginning of me really realizing that I had been dealing with anxiety and depression and guilt. and shame and all these weird boundary issues from childhood. And I was like, wow. So the pandemic was actually a blessing for me. This leads me to my biggest question that I've been waiting to ask all night. Because
Come on.
this is a big one for me. Because as Black people, I understand we have to be careful how we handle each other
Mm-hmm.
because we all going through something. How do you approach someone when you notice some symptoms or what appear to be symptoms of depression, anxiety, or any type of mental illness? How do you approach someone? Should you just not say anything?
No.
I mean, what do you do? How do you deal with that?
First, have you deal with that with compassion. Be compassionate. Don't treat them. If you do see somebody that might be having some type of issue, don't treat them like they have an issue. Don't make them feel like something's wrong with them, but be compassionate. Let them know you're there for them. And if somebody's having, like, I've witnessed somebody having anxiety attack, and because I know what one looks like, I know what to do, but not everybody knows what it looks like. So
Right.
and anxiety attacks can come in many forms, but when this lady was having an anxiety attack, I had her focus on me. Look at me, do deep breaths, follow me. And I was just hoping my breath didn't stink, but I wanted her to come out of that anxiety.
Right. But so how do we get beyond? Because for me, I don't like to pry or pressure people or anything like that. But how do you get beyond saying, how are you? Are you sure? Because so many of us have learned to just say, I'm okay. I'm good. When you looking at them and you know they're not okay. I mean,
Call them out.
it just bothers me. Like, I know you're not okay. Well, what,
Yes, you call them out. So if I ask you how you doing and you say I'm okay, but I can clearly see that you look like somebody ate your lunch, I'm gonna say no, you're not. Do you need to talk? I'm here for you if you need me.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But yeah, if you can clearly see somebody is not what they say they are, call them out.
That's good advice. That's good advice. That is good advice. I'm not above calling folks out. I just want to make sure that I don't do any harm. It's so hard for me because when I see somebody suffering, I just want to help them. But the thing with mental health, which is similar to dealing with survivors of domestic violence, is they the only one that can really pull themselves out of it.
Right.
So yeah, so it's almost like your hands are so tied. And that's why I like to do shows about this so that perhaps somebody can tune in and listen to the show and just get the information and understand that they're not alone. When we all experience, you know, some form of mental health.
Yes, we all do. Some it lasts 5 or 10 minutes. Some it lasts 5 or 10 years. Some it lasts a lifetime. But we all go through it, and we should not go through it alone. There's plenty of resources, plenty of things that you can do. Self-educate, self-help. You know, like journaling. Journaling is self-help. So, I mean, you just have to be committed to want to make that change, because I could have easily said, oh, okay, I guess this is the new me. So I'm going to start popping off on everybody. I could have made that choice.
Right.
But I said, okay, this is not the kind of person you want to be. You don't want to be that. No, come on, change your ways. Let's go see what's going on. See, I mean, but everybody not like me though. So
Sure ain't. Because you just described what I did, probably from the age of 14 to 34. It was, this is the new me. And don't get cut, don't get shot, don't
yeah.
get cussed out. Be careful how you approach me. I mean, it worked for me for a while because it made me feel powerful in a in reaction to situations where I felt powerless. So
Exactly.
that was my response, to just be in a rage all the time, and made me feel powerful. But I just burned so many bridges, and I just, I don't know, I just created so much drama to the point where some people loved it. I'm not gonna lie. Some people love being around me because I know she finna pop off. Oh, don't look at her crazy. But then I start seeing the fact that, okay, I'm like a clown. Like I'm a sideshow. Like people can't wait for me to act the fool.
Yeah.
So it took me
Want to be single.
yeah, it took me many years to break through that. So I hope that someone out there, if you are in that situation where you are behaving in a way that's not you, take heart, take hope, look at Shawnti's example, look at my example, and understand that you can change it. You can experience wellness.
Yes.
And I think that sometimes people haven't seen that. When you've grown up and everybody in your house raised hell, or everybody in your family crazy, you just think it's normal.
Right.
And then you never see anybody turn well. Even people be in church their whole life, still in the church house raising hell, or in the church house half losing their mind. So you never see wellness. So I'm hoping that through this show and through what you do, people can experience wellness through you and understand that they can have it for themselves.
Yes, it's possible. You just have to want it, and it's not hard to get. There is nothing like this side of peace that I'm in. Nothing like it. So if you are going through it, or just want to get out of it, come on over to this side. It's great.
Absolutely, it is. I mean, it is. I never thought that living a peaceful life could be so wonderful. I mean, just minding your own business and being in your own peace.
Yes.
It's
And
beautiful.
yes, not on anything because ain't nothing out there the same.
No, absolutely. So tell everybody how they can find you, how they can follow you, how they can order the journals, how can they support you, and if they want to reach out to you, what's the best way to go about that?
Let's see. You can email me. My address is or you follow me on Instagram at my Refuge. I'm on Facebook, on TikTok, Shawnti Refuge Journal. I'm me everywhere. So whatever platform, it's going to be Shawnti Refuge Journals. If you would like to talk to me, or if you would like for me to speak to you or your group or anything like that, I do those things. I am willing and happy. I feel like it's my job to go out there and tell my story, because how I went from there to where I am now, and I want other people to do the same, and I want other people who look like me to know it's possible. It's possible, and I am here to help. I'm here to serve.
Absolutely. So you were going out just a little bit, so I want to repeat. The email is info@shantirefugejournals.com.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
And she's on every social media platform, all the social media platforms that she mentioned, under Shawnti Refuge Journals.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. Now, before we go, I want to mention that I saw a lot of your journals and a lot of the themes of the journals. There was an overarching theme of self-love. And I think that is like, I think the direct path to really overcoming anything.
Yes.
Because when you love yourself, you will be proactive in your mental health, physical health, whatever issue or area of your life. So can you give us one tip for people that are struggling in the area of self-love? Just one tip to take with them to get started on a journey of loving themselves more.
In order for you to love yourself, that includes loving the parts of yourself that you can't stand. You have to love all of you, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it, because it's you. And God didn't make no mistake. So if that's what's in you, that's you, and you have to love yourself.
Absolutely. And you can't run from it, I guess. Sometimes we try to ignore the ugly,
That don't
but
work.
it's still there.
That don't work.
Right. It doesn't go anywhere. So
Ignoring it won't make it go away.
Absolutely. I think, I want to say this because I have just recently myself had such a revelation when it comes to self love and self care, because a lot of times when you are born a certain way, you have certain DNA, you have certain genetic things working for you, you ain't never going to be the size, shape, height of other people. And I think that once we realize that part, and that whatever size, shape, height that we are, as long as we're healthy, we're okay.
Yes.
That is a big step to self-love.
Yes, it is. It took me a while to love and accept myself for the way I am. I think I was in my 40s when I finally started loving myself the way I should have been from the beginning. So, yes.
Yeah, me too. Late 40s. I was always trying some type of diet, some type of fast, some type of something. And it would work for a minute, but it's
Yeah.
like I tell people I could eat one cucumber, a carrot, a piece of watermelon, and a glass of water. I'm still gonna be this size. It's
Right.
just the way it is. It just was this way. This is the hand that I was dealt. You know?
Right. Love it or leave it alone.
Exactly. So I love people like Lizzo. I love people who
I
just
love Lizzo.
live in their truth, because there's beauty in all of us, and we weren't
Yeah.
all meant to look alike or be alike.
Right. We are all made different, and different is great.
Yes, and I want to encourage you guys to follow Shawnti on TikTok. Look at her reels; they are so inspiring. I just love how you are on your reels. You just out there. You're like, look, hey, honey, listen. Did you journal today? I just love it. I love it so much. It is so uplifting. So if you guys need a little shot in the arm, a little bit of uplifting to uplift your day, this is who you go to. I'm telling you. You can
Come
thank me
on
later.
over. There's room.
Yes,
I got room.
absolutely. Absolutely. I want to thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for
Um,
having me.
it was a pleasure talking to you, and I knew that it would be. So, if you guys want to get more information, you could always inbox me. You could always send a message to us over at Stunner Radio, or you can inbox me personally. I will definitely pass on the information, and follow Shawnti on all social media platforms. What can we expect next from you?
Ooh, let's see what's going on next. What is it? Tomorrow. Tomorrow I am going to be at the Green Street 10th anniversary market
Oh,
with the Black Shopping Marketplace. So I'll be there tomorrow. I have a vendor and speaking engagement in June with Meek University.
oh, wow.
That's June 19th. And I got something else coming, but I can't say it yet.
Okay, okay. So you guys stay tuned to her social media so that you can be aware of what's going on with Shawnti. Thank you again for being my
Thank you
special
for
guest.
having me.
I
I
have
appreciate you.
Yes, I have really enjoyed you. You are such a light, and I hope that you know that what you do is extremely important.
Thank you.
Extremely important to our community. You are saving lives, and you're really helping people to get through what can be some of the hardest, issues to deal with, and that is our own mental health.
Yes, indeed.
So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Great show. Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much. I had a good time. Thank you for tuning in. All right, you guys, that's it for me. I hope that you will join me next week. I have a wonderful, wonderful guest by the name of Tan Tate. She is also known as the Hope Coach. And if you know anything about me, you know I love me some Hope Coach. I just recently got to know her, and I'm telling you, she is amazing. So, what better way to close out May than by having the Hope Coach with us? That is our show. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love you for watching, and I will see you next week.
Introducing Stunner Magazine, a lifestyle publication and companion to Stunner Radio's weekly broadcasts. Stunner Magazine features positive images of the Black community and inspiring stories to uplift and entertain. With our Artist Spotlight and Stunner of the Month, we strive to introduce you to the most intriguing rising stars in music, fashion, and beauty. Check out our May edition, available now exclusively on Issue.